What's up, guys? Run a Bunch here, giving another installment on a Saturday, first time for that, of the most under-the-radar sports betting and sports talk show on YouTube, the Run a Bunch Sports Show. So, since it's Saturday, I'd like to make this episode a little bit quick and gonna give you guys some good picks here for championship weekend, championship Saturday. There will also be another video tomorrow, but that will be focused more on bracketology and, seeding and things I like and things I don't like for specific teams. Probably a little bit about West Virginia, that kind of thing. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get right into my picks for tonight, and we're going to keep this relatively short. So starting off, my NCAA basketball picks, I have 5 of them for this evening. My first game here is Georgetown plus 8.5 versus Creighton. And like I said yesterday, I'm going to start giving you guys times for these games just to make sure you don't miss them. So this game starts at 6:30 p.m. My reasoning for this one is that Georgetown is 15-9 against the spread, as they're actually one of the best teams in the Big East against the spread. I don't necessarily believe they'll win this game. Creighton has been very good all season, but I do think that they will cover like they have covered every game in the Big East tournament so far. Georgetown's also had some impressive wins, honestly. They knocked off one of the top-ranked teams in Villanova and then beating a pretty solid Seton Hall team yesterday. I definitely like Georgetown to cover this evening. The second game that I have tonight is Oklahoma State plus 3 versus Texas. And this is the earliest game of the 5. This game is at 6 p.m. My reasoning for this pick is that Oklahoma State has been one of the best teams this season, if not the best, in the Big 12, maybe besides Baylor, at covering against the spread. They're 17-9 this season against the spread. And so far in the Big 12 tournament, they've done nothing but have 2 excellent wins against a pretty decent West Virginia team and a very solid top 5 team in Baylor. No one really saw that coming yesterday. So kudos to Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham. And I feel a lot of this pick is based off numbers, but also it just feels to me like Oklahoma State has gotten really hot this last week or two, and it almost has kind of like a team of destiny type feeling to this game. So I really do like Oklahoma State as of late. These last few weeks, they've been quite a wagon in terms of covering against the spread. I would honestly consider the money line here. I don't like the direction that Texas has been heading. Oklahoma State has been playing. They may be tired. Maybe that's why the spread has been in favor of Texas. But I really like Oklahoma State to definitely cover in this scenario and maybe even win the Big 12 conference tournament. So moving on, my third game of the evening, and this is going to actually be my lock of the day. I like Grand Canyon plus 1.5 versus New Mexico State. And this game's a lot later. All these other 3 games are a little bit later in the evening. So this one starts at 10 p.m. My reasoning for this is that Grand Canyon overall this season has been 16-6, and they are currently sitting at 14-5 against the spread. New Mexico State is actually only 6-10 against the spread this season, despite them being in the championship game. So that shows me that New Mexico State in the past has won their games, but they don't cover. And then also, losing games, that wouldn't really help either. And Grand Canyon, honestly, is just a good team. I mean, they shoot almost 50% from the field so far this season, which we're very late into the season, so that's kind of what you're going to get from that team. And they're honestly the number 1 overall seed in this conference championship tournament. New Mexico State's the number 3 seed, but I don't really get why Grand Canyon, who has been very good at covering, very good overall, and as the number 1 seed, is getting points in terms of being in the underdog in this game. I think that'll probably motivate them a little bit. And I know that I already used Grand Canyon as a lock of the day earlier in the year, and they lost it for me. But like I said, they're 16-6 overall, so people that have been consistently betting with them have been winning the money. It just so happens that one of those games that I happened to have them as my lock was a little bit of a fluke. So I trust them to get it done and get that NCAA March Madness tournament automatic bid tonight. So my next game, Oregon State +9 versus Colorado. And this game is at 10:30 p.m. tonight. We're going to start getting kind of over in the Pacific time zones. You know, those games are going to be a lot later. So my reasoning for this, Oregon State just had 2 huge wins, and especially a big-time win yesterday against Oregon, who was the #1 overall seed in this Pac-12 tournament, and a team that I personally, even though they lost yesterday, still have a lot of belief in to make a decent tournament run upcoming next week. But Oregon State got the best of them yesterday. They shot very well. They've been shooting very well this tournament. Colorado's very good, don't get me wrong. But Oregon State so far this season, they added to a total of 18 wins, 9 losses, and 1 tie against the spread. That's 18, 9, and 1. I really like that they're doubling their wins against the spread compared to their losses. I don't necessarily like them to win this game. I don't think they will win this game. I think Colorado is the better team. And I don't think you see a team like Colorado, like Oregon, back-to-back days and beat both of them. If they do, then watch out for Oregon State, because that means that they've improved a lot. But I don't really like the Oregon State to win, but I really like the Beavers to cover that +9 this evening. The only reason I can think of them getting +9 versus Colorado is that maybe Oregon State's tired from that big win they had yesterday. I don't really get it, but all the numbers indicate Oregon State +9 is the move in this championship game of the Pac-12. So my last game of the evening is UC Irvine and UCSB over 126 points. Now this game is at 11:30 p.m. tonight, so if you can, sip a little coffee for me and stay up through this one. My reasoning for this to go over, both previous meetings against these two teams in this regular season have actually gone over, and both teams average over about 70 points a game, and I think even UCSB averages like 75 a game. That's a lot of points. Even though they both have strong defenses, I trust that both these offenses are going to kind of, show out tonight, especially with championship games, and the fact that both teams shoot over 45% from the field. UCSB actually shoots like 48%. I think Irvine shoots like 46%. So they consistently make the ball in the hoop, and I don't think I don't necessarily believe they're going to score, 75 and 70 points tonight, but I do think that each team will get over that, that 65-point threshold. It kind of just feels like a shootout personally. I think the 126 number is just a little bit too low. I like this game probably more around like the 130 range, or in the 130s. I think that's probably about where it'll end up. But the 126 I think is great value, so I definitely couldn't refuse taking this over. I've actually been fairly solid in terms of, not necessarily NCAA, but just overall since this show started, over and unders. I'm 2-0 in unders so far, and I don't typically take over-unders because it's kind of a hard thing to predict, but I just really like this matchup tonight in this championship game. So those are my NCAA picks for tonight. I think they're all pretty strong. I think there's a lot of good value on these numbers. I think championship games kind of bring out the better numbers. I think people kind of miss out on some really good games and some good teams to take money on. I think they get distracted by the big-time matchups. And, I mean, Big 12, Pac-12, that kind of thing. Those are big matchups, don't get me wrong. But I don't know, like UC Irvine, UCSB, the Grand Canyon team, the Big East Championship. Those are a lot of teams that are, not necessarily looked at very much, but those are some good numbers and some good spreads, and those should be some really good games. So really looking forward to watching these games this evening and kind of giving you guys a little bit of an update tomorrow. So moving on, my last pick of today at all, I have one NHL pick, and this is only because I was looking at some numbers, and I really didn't think I'd do anything besides NCAA today, but I really, really like this pick. I'm not going to lie. I saw this number, and I was kind of like, what? Why is this the number? First time in NHL on this show, I typically go money line. I'm going to go the spread in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning, -1.5 versus Nashville this evening. And my reasoning for this one, Tampa has simply just been one of the best teams in the NHL this season so far. They sit at 18-5-2 this season. They're one of the best in terms of getting points. Though I don't understand the whole like point system, but I'm imagining like wins and like ties and stuff get you more points than losses. So they have the most points, so that means that they're one of the winningest teams in the NHL. And Nashville tonight has a ton of people on their injury report. They have almost I want to say 6 or 7 of their players are sitting either on injury reserve or are suspended. So I don't really feel like Nashville's playing with a lot of players tonight, and I think that's going to get to them. So personally, I like this to be a blowout tonight, and I like the money line too, but the money line just simply does not have good value. I think it's like minus 300 at this point, which just to explain that a little bit, you put $3 on them, you win $1. So I mean, you bet 3 times what you'd win. I don't really like doing stuff like that, so I definitely like the safer number, and I definitely think that the 1.5 is a good number. So I definitely like Tampa Bay minus 1.5 versus Nashville. So yeah, guys, those are my picks for this evening. Just to do a very quick recap, yesterday it was 3-3. Very unlucky 3-3. We had 2 games that missed by half a point. That would be, let me think, what game was that? Oh yeah, USC and Colorado last night. USC lost by 2. I had them at plus 1.5, so that was pretty unfortunate. And also my lock of the day lost again because of that half point. I had UNC plus 2.5 versus Florida State, and Florida State won by 3. So yeah, just some really bad breaks there. I don't necessarily feel bad about that because I've said this before on the show. The numbers are there, like those picks are accurate. It just so happens that you're a half point off the other direction. So really sucks, but 3-3 still ain't bad. 500 could be 0-6. So I'm definitely not gonna be too upset about it, but I would like to get some more winning days. That actually makes us 10-6-1 so far this week because of that Major League Baseball tie. That's why the one's at the end. But 10-6-1 for the week. So we have a winning week so far, but a lot of picks to make tonight, 6 more picks to add to that. So hopefully we can steer ourselves in the right direction and, have a really good end to this week. So, and just one last thing, like I said, my lock of the day is now officially under 500 again, 3-4. We've lost 2 straight. So kind of unfortunate, but we've had a few of those games now on the lock of the day where the numbers have been there. Like I said, half a point or a point off. Just really unfortunate, but that's sports betting for you. So not gonna be too upset. Like I've said, another episode tomorrow talking about brackets, talking about teams, who I like, who I don't like. Maybe a few picks tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what is going on. Maybe some NBA, maybe some more championship games. There's a few championship games tomorrow, so we'll definitely have to see what the time frame is for those. But yeah, guys, other than that, appreciate you guys watching. I'm working really hard to get you guys these stats, these numbers, these picks. So definitely throw some support. I'd try to get, if we can get like 5 likes on this episode, honestly, I'd be really stoked to hear that. But whatever you guys are feeling, it's your guys' life. I'm not gonna make you guys like or subscribe or anything like that, but it would help if you guys subscribe to me, and then also for you guys to watch these videos to get notifications and whatnot. But I appreciate you guys that do watch. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm hoping that there can be some changes coming up soon after March Madness, after I stop being so busy making some of these picks. So yeah, guys, I appreciate your time, and you guys have a good betting day. I appreciate you guys. Cue the outro.